Hello and welcome to this review of my Northgate OmniKey 102. Now this one's a little bit special. This is the gold badge version, which is an older version than the standard OmniKeys, and it comes with Blue Alps. So Blue Alps in a Northgate tank, in other words the best Alps switch in the best Alps chassis. Should be fireworks here. As it turns out, it's interesting beyond that as well though. I've been piecing together the history of Northgate keyboards, and this one turned out to be quite different from what I thought, a bit of a missing link in fact. See, you might think this is just an OmniKey with a prettier badge and Blue Alps, but it's not, it's quite different actually. Let me elaborate. When you mention Northgate keyboards, everyone will follow up with OmniKey. The OmniKeys, like this one, which I reviewed earlier, are a series of keyboards with several things in common. Excellent build quality, a big bank of dip switches that let you use it on a wide variety of systems such as PCs, Tandys, Amigas, ATTs, etc., as well as customize several things about the layout such as putting it on Dvorak or swapping the control and caps lock keys. They have N-key rollover on all models, a cool blue badge, and nice clicky white Alps switches. Delicious. But before that, Northgate keyboards were basically rebadged focus keyboards, such as the 747 and 555. These had a little square gold badge and used all the blue Alps, which the white Alps later replaced. Moreover, they weren't quite as well built, didn't have all the dip switches, and no N-key rollover. They were already moving towards the OmniKey though. Notice how much the lock light bank on the Focus 555 looks like that on the OmniKey, including the weird order of lock lights, with caps lock first and then numlock. This gold label OmniKey appears to be the link between the two series. Unlike what I had expected, this model doesn't come with N-key rollover or all the dip switches either. It just has an XT80 switch, so you could only use it on PCs or compatibles. But it does have the gold label of the Focus Northgates, as well as Blue Alps and the amazing build quality, so it's kind of a hybrid between the two, the first of the OmniKeys basically. The other Northgates, like the 101, the Ultra, etc., weren't invented yet at this time either, and they never came with gold badges or Blue Alps. It even has a different layout from the later Blue Badge 102s. I've been looking for one of these for a while, but this one was actually a donation. It's seen a fair amount of use, so it's not quite as spotlessly smooth as my Acer with Blue Alps, but it's a very clean specimen, has almost no yellowing, and it's in good condition overall, about as good as you're going to get for a used 80s keyboard. It even came with the original box, which I always really like, and the original manual, as well as a bag with a real Northgate branded key puller and replacement keycaps for swapping the control and caps lock keys. I don't think the replacement caps belong with the keyboard though, as funnily enough they're the same size as the ones already on the board, and the dip switch for switching the layouts doesn't exist on this model. Overall, I'm super happy with this keyboard though, and because this keyboard is quite a few marks above most of my other keyboards, throughout the video I'm going to compare it against just about the toughest competition it could face. Namely, my OmniKey Ultra with early white Alps, my near immaculate Acer KB101A with Blue Alps, and an IBM Model F. I'm not even going to bother comparing it to a Model M because, in my opinion, it would just wipe the floor with it. As mentioned before, the build quality on this is sublime. It's got a thick metal mounting plate, a thick metal back panel, and everything is held together very tautly, a true tank. The OmniKey is most often likened to the Model M, but I'd say it's definitely built much better. It's more on par with the Model F actually, which is amazing. The Acer also has excellent build quality, but it's clearly no match for the OmniKey. Strangely, although the later OmniKeys have all kinds of ports and a detachable cable, this is not the case. On this model it just has a fixed cable coming out the back here. It has the same cable retaining clips at the back here, at the back of the feet, but amusingly the coil in the cable is at such a position that you can't actually use this clip on this side unless you kind of maybe hook it in like this, but it doesn't really work properly. The flip-out feet have little rubber shoes on them that prevent the board from moving around, which is excellent. Overall, top marks for build quality here. By the way, here's the model sticker of the keyboard. As you can see, it was made in April of 1989. And the badge is just clearly superior. It's gorgeous. It has blue Alps, my favorite switches. They're widely considered to be better than the later white Alps, being smoother and having a slightly lighter feel as well as a better sound. What most people don't realize though is that there were several generations of blue Alps and several generations of white Alps. White and blue Alps have slightly different parts, different switch plates, different click leaves, different coil springs, housings, sliders, and blue Alps even came with lubricant. But they didn't change all the parts at the same time. When they changed color, they changed bit by bit. So some really early white Alps retained quite a few characteristics of blue Alps, and some later blue Alps were a little closer to white Alps. As it happens, this board's from 1989, which means it has quite late blue Alps. Instead of the typical tall grey switch plates, it has tall white ones, and it has matte springs instead of shiny ones. The white Alps MR Blue badge model are relatively early ones. They don't have the lubricant or tall switch plates, but the housing has the old slits, and they have gold-colored springs and a light-colored top housing. They feel great. But the blue Alps still feel better. Not quite as clunky and slightly smoother. The difference is kind of subtle though, definitely not as big as between typical white and blue Alps. The sound is also better. I don't know what it is about blue Alps, but even between these two nearly identical chassis, they still sound fuller and bassier. Listen to this. This is the blue Alps model. And this white Alps. I found that blue Alps have a unique type of sound to them. It's very thick, almost like you're punching through the entire desk. Here, listen to this. You can actually hear the desk vibrate, whereas with these white Alps, even the early ones, that's not the case. You can't hear that. You can just hear the switch, not the table. Even when you just rub your fingers over them, they still sound better. The difference in Spacebar Sound especially is very, very big between the two keyboards, even though they're the same size. Listen to this. This is the blue Alps one. And this is the white Alps one. It's quite remarkable. Because they're in better condition, the blue Alps in my Acer feel a little bit better and more consistent, but the ones in OmniKey are definitely still way up there. The two chassis also impart a quite different sound to the switches. Let me give you a quick side-by-side. Now, compared to a Model F, which has just about the best switches I know of, the Model F is slightly smoother, even than the Blue Alps. But I still prefer Blue Alps. They just have a certain thing to them, I don't know. The keycaps are the same Taihao-made double-shot ABS keycaps as those on later OmniKeys and on focus boards. They're thin, but that really brings out the sound, and the sound is just amazing. Plus, the font looks great, very classic. Double shot molding is very expensive, but the lettering is impossible to wear off, and it provides razor-sharp contrast. I love double shot keycaps. Of course, whether you prefer double shot ABS or dye-sublimed PBT is completely a matter of opinion, but it depends a little bit on the keyboard, I would say. Thin double-shot ABS, for example, just fits Alps switches very nicely. It brings the sound out and they look great on them, whereas on old IBM keyboards you kind of expect thick dye-sublimed PBT. Like on the keyboards I previously mentioned, the modifier and escape keys are color-coded in red, green, and blue. According to the manual, this color coding was done for use with Microsoft Word Perfect. The layout is a little bit different. It has what I generally refer to as the focus layout. This has a big-ass enter key like on many 80s boards, but atypically it has a full-size backspace. Usually keyboards with such a big-ass enter key move the extra key that they put here next to the backspace key, so you end up with a very small backspace key, which is incredibly annoying. Focus instead, who I suspected made these keyboards, didn't put the key here, but they moved it to the right of the shift key instead, so that you can have a full-size backspace key, which is very nice. It's a great layout, I really like using it. This one's a little bit of a proto-focus layout though, because the control key is here, alt is here, and caps lock is here, and they put escape on the num row, and tilde all the way over here. The F keys are on the left, like with many old keyboards, and there is a little extra equals key here on the numpad, which is the 102nd key, hence OmniKey 102. It's very useful if you work a lot with Excel like I do. All in all, this keyboard turned out to be even more interesting than I thought it would be. It doesn't have all the features of the later OmniKeys, but it feels and sounds even better, and the badge is gorgeous. In fact, I can't stop staring at it. It really stands out. I'm super happy with this keyboard, and especially with the original box, the paraphernalia, and the condition it's in. It's a spectacular addition to my collection. That's it for this review. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And following is a typing demonstration of me typing on this keyboard.